Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to some more Let's Play The Occult Chronicles. In the last episode, we started playing the game with Samwise, a forcibly retired boxer who apparently had been wounded by a magical bullet fired by a cult of black necromancers. These necromancers must have been responsible for giving cover to the vampires as well. Samwise has been the vampire coven, which is located someplace within this mansion. Samwise is eager for revenge and has showed up here to finish the job that the Odd has started in decimating the vampire numbers with, what was it called? Operation Driven Stake. So far, nothing bad has happened to him overall, and he's picked up an Arcana card and a crystal ball. This is one of the better items to get in the game, giving us the option to figure out where that final room is later on by using it. It also is giving us +1 pentacles. Overall, things are looking okay. I'm hoping we can gain at least one level, if not 3 or 4 of them in this episode. And to that end, let's get started. I'm going to be ignoring all the rooms here on the second floor at the moment. We are too weak to explore them. We can encounter some other members of the Vampire Coven in these rooms. There are 3 vampire wives. I believe one is located on the second floor, one in the attic, and another in the basement first floor. We want to avoid them until we're a little stronger. At least the one up here on the second floor. We unfortunately also need to be careful while we're up here, and we are up here because I want to avoid the stepping across those bugs. And I doubt that one scythe trap we were lucky enough not to take a wound from is the only trap up here in these hallways. This room often has an encounter in which we can find a ranged weapon of some sort. I'll come back here later when our stats are a little higher, so we have a better chance of successfully finding a gun. Now, this here could be a grandfather clock, but it could also probably be a mortician from the movie Phantasmagoria, I think, or Phantasm. I've still not watched that movie, and you guys have told me about it. It's some sort of... Oh, okay, one of these is probably the mortician, and the other one of these is the grandfather clock. We're going to leave them unexplored at the moment, because the mortician can wound us if we get rather unlucky with the combat roll. Okay, so we're back here. I think what we're going to do before we try taking on the green slime is we're going to actually search these papers. We haven't gotten too much more stats to help us with this. However, it just occurs to me if we bump into the Vashaka first, we won't get a chance to search the papers. The encounter will change to a just claim the papers. So we can actually interact with this twice as long as we haven't found the quest that starts this yet, or rather the quest that leads into searching these papers. So let's go ahead and search it now. We did pick up +1 pentacles, so that is also helpful. The target number is 1 lower, and we draw 1 more card. It's an okay hand. And we won by +5 points. That's going to be 4 card draw. You don't come across anything earth-shattering, but there's enough information here to boost your confidence that you're on the right track. If we're lucky, we can get 1 experience point somewhere up here. 2 sanity. Okay. Well, I'm thinking we try, I don't know. Maybe we go back up to the second floor. So, often, but not always, the passages in the second floor will lead to a staircase on the other side of the mansion. In that regard, we could save our Arcana card a little bit longer and possibly find some more easier to complete quests out here, rather than knocking out the green slime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It would take us some steps to get back there, though. We'd also have to worry about any other traps on the second floor. The green slime encounter itself has some decent rewards if you can actually win the fight. Since we did pick up one more pentacles, we might be able to try to use magic against it. I think we will try fighting it. Let's try fighting it. Let's do it. Alright, so we're back here again. And we don't have a lot of card draw, only 4, but our target number is a little easier to get now. Coming in at 6. So let's do this. These things are incredibly tough and are known to be able to regenerate damaged tissue unless they are frozen. Granted, there's a great deal of ooze here, but you're confident you can put this thing on ice. Let's try. Yeah, it's not a bad hand. A Page of Pentacles and a King of Pentacles. If we get any Pentacles cards up here, we will have instantly won this encounter. We got a Knight of Cups to the 3 of Cups, so we're marching into it. We're throwing punches, and our punches are magically enchanted at this moment. And we won. Let's definitely play that king. We really don't want to lose this encounter. There's a few encounters in the game. Okay, very good call, Tim. There's a few encounters in the game in which, if you lose the encounter, if you're put into a far worse position, we would be engulfed by the slime, covered in it. Basically, it's like the Blob from the 80s. God, that movie was so horrible. Oh my God! But it's like it falls on you. It starts to eat you alive, and you're given like one chance to get out of it before it just dissolves you utterly. The same thing with a gelatinous cube we can encounter later on. I guess we didn't win by much, just 2 points, but we did clear the encounter without needing to use our Arcana card. The creature's overconfidence proves its undoing. It attempts to engulf you from all directions. When it does, you cast an Ice Nova. I gotta change this instead to be more punny and less explicit about what you actually do with the encounter. A Grappling Hook! That is amazing as a reward. Alright, we'll take a look at that as well. I'm going to go and save the game really quick, too. So, we didn't get any experience points, but that green slime encounter can give you items as a reward. Like a sledgehammer you might find, or a wands item. In this case, we found a cups item, and it's a grappling hook. It gives us +1 bonus to our cups. So now our cups is 4. It also gives us a use in a challenge. It reduces the target level for climb actions by -8. This is a phenomenal item to find early, because later on, when we're crawling around the basement, we will have the option to crawl down pits. And these pits are very difficult to climb down or get out of, and they might lead to the final room. So having this is also really helpful. This is amazing that we got both the crystal ball and the grappling hook so early in the game. And both of these items are increasing our stat line by 1 point each. That's great, but also makes me a little nervous, because with the increased stats comes increased difficulty. The game is going to see us having 4 cups and 4 pentacles, and we'd be like, he's doing pretty well. Let's make things a little tougher for him. Let's see what this encounter is right here, inside this strange room. Looks like a ballroom of some sort. Suddenly in front of you materialize a group of figures dressed in suits and evening gowns, waltzing with partners unhappily around the room. The surprise appearance from thin air catches you off guard and startles you. The ghostly ball is quite disconcerting, even though the ghosts seem to be unaware of your presence. You struggle to keep a rein on any fears that would chip away at your sanity. You guys remember when I played through... what was it? Alone in the Dark? with the ghostly ball that happens there. That ghostly ball is terrifying. If you touch any of the ghosts, they hunt you down to anywhere you go in the mansion and kill you. You effectively have to reload the game if you touch any of them. And they dance all around the room. And we failed this psychic challenge. The ghostly ball is silent and disquieting. You struggle to keep your composure. The deathly silence that encompasses this ghostly ball strikes you as odd. Although the ghosts themselves seem oblivious to your presence, you feel definite tension in the air. The ghosts themselves don't seem quite displeased about something. It doesn't appear to have anything to do with you. Then you realize what's so odd. None of the ghosts are dancing. They start to partner up, but then each time the dance is set to begin, nothing happens. We can try to communicate with them. You decide to use your training as a medium to make contact and find out what seems to be troubling them. There's always a risk with this type of action. A decent hand. A king and queen of wands, and then an ace of cups. You make the rounds from couple to couple until you find one that wants to talk. There seems to be a problem with the ball. Maybe you can help. The ghosts explain that the band will not play without its pianist, and they have no idea where the fellow is. You hear a chubby old monocle-wearing ghost sitting near the wall chuckle, "Huh, with his piano, of course." You contemplate the ghost's meaning, and you suspect that a piano will indeed be the key to this mystery. Now we have the other part of that one quest to bring us back over here and interact with the piano that we had seen. There'll be a new option for us to interact with it. And this is one of the reasons why I don't destroy the quest events, even if it's tempting to do so. Because if we complete it this way, we'll get the option for more experience points, and we'll unlock even more quests through this one. We also gained another point of experience, which is enough that we can increase our sword stat 1. Alright, 3 swords and 4 cups. That's going to be quite helpful for our physical challenges that we engage in. You stumble upon 3 figures hunching over something lying on the floor. They look up to face you. You recoil in horror as you observe their blood-covered faces. These creatures have been feasting on the body, and it looks human. Your mind is weak. You struggle to maintain your sanity. Ghouls. You would know those canine features and that smell anywhere. The odd has been called in more than once to fight ghoul infestations. Calcutta, Chicago, London, Fond du Lac. They seem to pop up everywhere. Remember the briefings. Hit them hard and they will scatter. Don't let them swarm you or get behind you. Make sure you get any wounds, especially bite wounds, treated immediately. Well, we actually have a better chance of beating them up with magic or actually physically fighting them than we do actually trying to flee. So and it's a better chance for us to use magic in particular. So normally, by the way, if you have this encounter, you will only have the option to attack the ghouls physically or flee them. I added this option in the game, battle the ghouls with magic. And this is the best option for us, so we're going to do it. They're corporeal creatures. A few well-placed firebolts or shrivel spells should do the trick, assuming that you still have a few of those. A heads up, by the way, everyone, that for the vast majority of these encounters, whenever I added a new option for dealing with them, I ensured that it was similar to the option that already existed, but used different stat lines. So in this instance, I'm pretty sure that the difficulty for the ghouls I made equal to the same difficulty over here. And the modifiers are based on similar but yet different attributes. So instead of swords, cups, swords, it's pentacles, wands, pentacles, for example. Because I didn't want to make something that I felt was unbalanced. I hope that makes sense. And I hope I didn't unbalance this game with all the changes that I did. Alright, that wins the encounter. Holy crap! You step over the twisted remains of their corpses, eager to press on. Where there's one pack, there's usually more. Yeah, see, this is a much better way to do the text than some of the other texts I did in the game. like for dealing with the slime. This doesn't actually describe what you did. It just lets you know you won in some cool way. And so, I need to revisit some of the text I did. No experience points, but quite a few stats to help us survive a bit longer. Remember, everyone, that we also picked up 1 aura of luck in that last episode as well. We'll come back for this, the rest of the ballroom. An odd place for a foyer. I guess this is where people go to rest after they're done with the ball. You feel your foot press down on the pressure plate, and then hear a click as the tablets hit the pan of acid. A cloud of poisonous gas erupts from the floor beneath us. We have a good chance... Oh, either of these is decent. The question is, do I want 6 tricks with 5 draw, or 4 tricks with 6 draw? We'll try an instinctive roll. You roll out of the way of the poison cloud using your reflexes and instincts. Oh. Alright, let's try Giant Leap. Failed again. You instinctively twist and roll to the side of the billowing cloud. Let's talk about feats very briefly in case you've forgotten how they work. So, to use a feat, you first must have the courage stored on the feat to use it. So we are now completely out of courage, so we can no longer use Giant Leap. Then, to use it, you must be in an encounter where it can be used. In this case, it can be used for traps or physical tests, I believe. Is that right? Pass obstacles, climbs, and evade traps for Giant Leap. Then you have to roll a dice, and that dice's result must be equal to or lower than your stat that the feat uses, in this case, cups. And it hasn't been. This is another important reason why you want to level your stats first before you grab more feats, because if your stats are only 3, you got a 50-50 shot that those feats you put all those experience points in to get, they're not going to do anything for you. Courage is also very difficult to get in the early game, and so we're probably not going to be able to use Giant Leap until we're probably in the basement at this point. I attempted to add more courage to the game and arcane energy so that you can use your feats and spells a little more often. One of these is probably the stairs that goes up. The stairs that goes up. The stairs to the second floor. Let's explore the kitchen. This could be a knife. Let's see if it is. Oh, it is a knife, but not the knife I expected it to be. An angry poltergeist of knives. You hear the clatter and swish of air before you can even see it. Then suddenly in front of you is a supernatural cyclone of razor-sharp butcher knives. It's moving right towards us, and we don't have the luxury to panic. You fight to keep yourself calm and not give in to the panic. Well, not with this hand. I'm not going to be able to do that. You begin to sob and weep in terror. You don't have time for this, but you can't help yourself. You know a poltergeist when you see it, and this one's armed, dangerous, and mad. Holy crap, we have a miserable chance of defeating this. Yeah, we have to just run. You muster your courage to turn and run. This thing obviously wants to make a point. You find the willpower to turn and run. We're not seeing what's behind that door. We need much higher stats to defeat this encounter. You stop dead in your tracks when you first see it. A large 19th century oven is shambling across the floor in front of you. It seems to rock back and forth, and you hear the loud scrapes that it makes as it hobbles forward. A sudden chill shoots down your spine as you realize that you are confronting something otherworldly here. You flinch in horror as a face seems to materialize and turn its attention to you. Haunted furniture and you never get along very well. Your eyes widen in disbelief as the possessed oven turns to meet your gaze. You must fight to keep your sanity with a god-awful hand. You feel as if imaginary flames were enveloping you and your skin were burning off. You can hear the thing in the oven laughing in your mind. The possessed oven seems to rock back and forth as it sizes you up. You could swear you hear screams from souls trapped within the oven, roasting in agony. The creature is a product of a sorcerer curse of unfathomable evil. It's also requires a quest to defeat it correctly, so we'll come back for it. You can't really move that fast. If you can muster your courage, you should be able to get away. You muster all the courage that you can and slowly back away. Before you know it, you are well away. With only a difficulty of 1, I'm tempted to finish exploring this. But no, we'll leave it. The account, we're looking for a baker. Oh, and we found a clue. You find a scribble written on the wall, what appears to be dried blood. Beware, Nosferatu. -2 to the target level. You are suddenly confronted by a translucent figure. It seems dressed in the attire of a previous era, perhaps the late 17th century. Your first impression is that it is not a hostile spirit. It seems to be considering you and taking your measure. Despite the non-threatening approach of the ghost, your confrontation with the supernatural is still very disturbing to your peace of mind. You have kept your sanity. Perhaps you're getting a little too used to this. No, not based on my previous encounters game. You recognize the ghost's attire as that of a chapel or organ master. Your odd training tells you that it's a classic Class 4 free-roaming entity. It has retained its identity from its previous life, and seems fully self-aware. The ghost gestures gently, as if it would like to allay your fears and make contact with us. You set about making contact through your skills as a medium. You have been taught the trance and meditational techniques at the Odd Academy. But we're going to struggle with 3 cards to do it, but we did it anyway. You establish a link with the ghost and are immediately overwhelmed by its sense of desperation. It needs your help. While in your trance, you come to understand the ghost's implorations. Many years ago, it was tricked into building a pipe organ by a nefarious cult known as the Order of the Divine Agony. It used the organ to collect the remnants of disembodied souls that were harvested from the dark sacrificial rituals. The cult is long gone, but the reliquary of torment abides here in this house. Within the pipe organ dwells the disembodied rage of hundreds of sacrificial souls. The ghost was able to sabotage the organ many years ago, hiding important pieces in the house. He alone possesses the sheet music that the organ desires to unlock its assorted powers. The organ master wants you to help him destroy the organ and free the remnants so that they can return to the spirit world. So we have to find the grandfather clock where the missing parts of the organ have been hidden and retrieve them. Then install the parts in the organ and play the spell of binding on the music sheets backwards to destroy the haunted organ once and for all, and then return to him. Now we could use our trick card here to beat the poltergeist, but I'm hoping that we don't have to. I want to hold that card for an emergency. Or for something really beneficial. This could be the baker right here on the other side of this door. Not quite, but still good to have encountered this guy so early. You see what at first looks like a blur of light and shadow moving back and forth in a circular pattern. It might even be the reflection of some nearby mirror or window. Suddenly, you see a ghost materialize before you. It's dressed in the classic attire of a chef with an apron and a distinctive cooking hat. You stop dead in your tracks and try and compose yourself. Your mind races contemplating this ghostly creature that has suddenly appeared before you. The fear it elicits is of course natural, but confronting the supernatural is never easy. You have kept your sanity. The ghostly chef floats about in a circle as if moving from working station to working station. It seems completely absorbed in what it is doing and does not seem to be paying you any attention. You decide to try and make contact with the ghostly chef to find out what has it so animated. You enter a trance and reach out to the ghost. It turns to look at you with an angry face. No time to talk. It needs more cowbell. That makes no sense, Vic. What the heck? Alright, well, let's try that again. Oh, a much better hand. Hopefully, we'll get a pentacles or a cups up here. Okay, there we go. You enter a trance and make contact with the ghostly chef and inquire about its work. It seems to mutter something and then snaps around to look at you with a fervent intensity. It wants something from you. I've lost my knife. I think it ran off somewhere. Have you found it? It's very sharp and very strong-willed. Has a mind of its own, you know. Please tell it to come here at once. I have a bad feeling about this. A larder? It could be right in here. Zombies! Alright, we fought zombies before. Last time I think we used magic against them. It's still better... Oh, I don't know. Physically beating them up gives us 6 target with 6 tricks and 6 draw. Magic is 5 target with 4 tricks and 6 draw. I think I'd rather beat him up physically. You won the battle, yeah. All that practice with Resident Evil 2 really helped out using that knife. You stop as soon as you catch sight of the lone figure near the wall. You might have thought that he was a statue standing there, as his only movement in the gloom was the slow, labored rise and fall of his chest as he drew breath. Without warning, he burst into a maniacal cackle that sends a shiver down your spine. You have no doubt that you are hearing the laughter of the insane. The maniacal laughter is truly disturbing as it echoes around the room and out of the doors. And we have a miserable hand. No face cards. And a bunch of really low cards. Your mind is weak. A gaunt, thoroughly insane man wielding a bloody axe lunges towards us. We are certain that there is no way to reason with him, so you can save your questions for later. So I did not add any other encounters here. I think we're going to fight him. Now, there's a great chance for us to take a wound, I believe, fighting this guy. So if things look horrible for us, we will end up using our Arcana card here. I mean, we could flee, though. Tim. You could run. No, we're going to kill him. You size him up and decide that you can take him. Hopefully he's just your normal axe-wielding lunatic and not some super-strength fanatic fueled by incomprehensible dark forces. Oh, we have a decent hand. 2 aces, but 2 kings of the same suits that those aces are in, and a 10 of swords. And we need to play the king immediately, because I really don't want to fail this encounter. Alright, and we won. And we won by quite a lot. Awesome. You make crazy short work of the lunatic, and his axe doesn't even touch you. There's a chance you can get the axe from here, but it's not guaranteed. And there it is. All right, we'll take a look at that in a bit. You know, we're getting lots of stuff, but we're not getting a whole lot of experience points. This is the first time I've had this happen to me. Our stats are being improved, but not through our background. Okay, so we just grabbed an axe, everyone. It gets, so all melee weapons add +1 to your sword's skill, to my recollection. And we can use it in combat. We have to have 2 cups to wield it in combat. And it lets us use a swinging chop. Select a non-face card in hand, then roll 1 bone, which will be cups, and bump the card value up on the selected card plus X. X is the number of cups rolled. We also have a special encounter for doors that will let us basically hack through them with this axe. I'm going to save the game because that's an amazing thing to get. So if we didn't have the great hand that we had, then if it was all like low number cards, then the first face card I flipped over, I would have used this on to let us win that challenge. A page would be worth 2 points, and that would be worth 6, so 8 points total, and that would let us win the challenge since difficulty was 7. But thankfully, we still get to keep our Arcana card for a rainy day. The dagger will be in here if it wasn't in the larder. That's it. You look down and see a large knife resting on a wooden surface. Blood has pooled around it, and there are several pieces of stubby flesh scattered around it as well. Suddenly, you see 2 pale eyes reflected on the surface of the blade. No, not reflected, but rather projected from someplace inside the blade. You recoil in terror from the vision. The eye seems to pierce through to your very soul. They mask a dark and powerful evil will. You shudder and force yourself to resist it. You can feel it probing your psychic defenses. Will we actually be able to pass this check? Yes, we do. We haven't gotten very lucky with the horror. Well, we have. We have. Have we? No, we haven't. We haven't gotten very lucky with the horror checks. We got lucky with that one fight against the ghouls and picked up like 5 sanity there. You have kept your sanity. You have shrugged off the evil spirit's attempt to dominate you. You gaze down at the knife, but try to keep your gaze from locking on to the mesmerizing eyes within the blade. You feel an oppressive presence in the room with you. The knife radiates pure evil. You resolve to approach this artifact with caution and wonder how many throats this thing has slit. Communicating with something like this is always dangerous. There's no telling how powerful this possessed knife really is. You decide to risk it and enter a trance. Now, I haven't, but I'm planning on changing this encounter, Master the Knife. Currently, either of these. So, if you don't have the chef's quest, then then this is your only option for dealing with the knife, and this just lets you defeat the encounter. You don't keep the knife, and you can't complete the quest for the chef, to my knowledge. I want to change this so that if you choose Master the Knife, then you get to keep it. Like, it will be a knife item in your inventory. But I haven't done that yet, so maybe I'll do that between episodes. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do this. Communicating with something like this is always dangerous. There's no telling how powerful this possessed knife really is. You decide to risk it and answer a trance. We have a fantastic card draw. Look at that. Look at it. Look at it. That's fantastic. And we won just like that. You enter a trance and are immediately assaulted with the desire to harm yourself. Before you know it, the blade is in your hand, but you fight back and make it listen to your command. The knife obeys. It will return to the chef shortly. Another Class 1 Haunting. Last time we destroyed it with magic. Oh, we'll try Getter. It's been a while since I read this. Getter. That's it. That's the whole plan. Getter. Let's do it! Holy crap, we did it. I can't believe it. And not only did we do it, we got a few points extra. The Ace of Cups showed up here. We took it with the Two of Cups. That's awesome. I had thought about using our axe on the Two of Cups to increase its value so we can take it with the 3 and hold on to the 6. But in the end, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to bother doing that. I have not forgotten about my abilities this time around, though. Just a heads up. I do know I've got this feat. You see me use it. I do know I have this axe. You'll see me use that pretty often whenever I need it here. You got her good. No one's going to believe how you did it, and you're not sure you are either. Doesn't matter. I'm not getting any experience points. You enter a trance and tell the chef that you have located his knife. You had to insist a little, but it got the point. The ghostly chef is still moving in an energetic circle, seeming wrapped in its ectoplasmic food preparations. You wonder if it couldn't leave this all behind, or is it just being punished for some foul poisoning? The Sacred Flame, we earned a talisman for this. We'll talk about talismans very quickly, in a few seconds. Where's the experience points game? Giving me a bunch of useful things, but I really want experience points. Okay. So I didn't explain talismans since we started this Let's Play. I'm assuming you guys know what these do by now, but just in case you don't. Whenever you have an encounter, I believe, of the type that the talisman would affect, the primary type, then if you lose the encounter, there is a chance that the talisman will appear on one of the penalty cards. So, for example, wands. Wands are horror checks, psychic challenges, or options that you have to deal with threats. And if we fail one of those, there's a 50% chance that this Sacred Flame would show up on one of our penalty cards. If we flip that card, then whatever is under that card doesn't affect us. So if it's a death card and the flame was on it, we are immune to its effects. The same thing with getting an impairment or a wound. However, whether there was something under there or not, when you use a talisman, there's a chance that the talisman vanishes. In this case, it's a 5% chance. That's what the release chance says. You think that you hear someone whistling at first. The gloom seems to part, and you encounter a figure engaged in a task of some sort. It's dressed in clothes from a previous era. As you come closer, you realize that you are in the presence of something supernatural. The figure is transparent and seems to glide here and there as if floating on air. No matter how many times you see something like this, it's always a bit of a shock. Your touch with the supernatural threatens to chip away at your sanity. Calm your mind and resist the terror that wishes to overwhelm you. Wow. We won! We won. It's like, I shouldn't complain, but woof. No wands and no other pentacles. You've kept your sanity. At this point, you've almost gotten used to the spectacle of spirits of household servants scampering around their old haunts. Indeed. The ghost that you are observing was obviously once a baker. You recognize the distinctive clothing and discern that it appears to be going through the motions of preparing bread for the oven. You sense, however, that it's agitated. It keeps repeating the same motions over and over as if stuck in some type of circle. It pays you no attention whatsoever. You decide to make contact with the ghost and listen to its story. Many focused hauntings like this have some unresolved business here in this world. Maybe you can help. You enter a trance and psychically reach out to the ghost. No, no, no! I'll not have that thing in my oven. Now go away! It lashes out at you. We'll try 2 more times. You enter a trance and subtly reach out to the ghost. As you suspected, the ghost is caught in a psychokinetic rut of a sorts. It's not fully aware of this, but it seems eager to talk. I haven't any time for you, trusts a ghostly baker. Unless, of course, you can get my oven working again. It's wandered off somewhere, but I need it cleaned and fast. It's time to make the donuts. The ghostly baker pays you no more heed. It goes back to his endless preparations. You'll need to find this oven and clean it. That, as I've always said whenever we encounter this every year, is a nod towards the Dunkin' Donuts commercials. Man. I've heard that Dunkin' Donuts no longer makes all their donuts on site, that they now have them shipped in. That's such a shame. Well, we know where that oven is, so why don't we go down here and beat it up. Okay, so now if we defeat it in one of these with one of these options, we will complete the quest. If we did this first, we wouldn't be able to get this quest from the baker. So I think we're going to use magic because it's our best chance against it. You decide to unleash your sorceress power on the diabolical contraption. You've had success in the past dispelling such creatures by simply overwhelming their defenses. It's time to turn this one up to 11. Well, probably not with this card draw. Oof, no! No points. You lost the battle. The spirit animating this haunted oven is potent and it strikes out at us. I didn't realize we could get ill omens from failing this. So we flipped this, but it was on, but our talisman was on it, so we are not affected by the ill omen. You will try that again. And I'm not messing around if we can get ill omens from this encounter. You won the battle. The oven is scorched and melting in places. Whatever spirit possessed it is now gone. This is arcane energy. We can't use it because we don't have a spell. So unfortunately, it just goes into the ether. The experience points, though, we're going to take. We're gonna go right for their skill card. I really want our wands to be able to get increased, so I'm desperate for something that can do that for us. We have 4 swords, 4 cups, and 4 pentacles, but only 2 wands now, so we definitely want more wands. You come across an odd sight for this house, and that is saying something. Before you stands a 1922 Kelvinator refrigeration unit. Who knows how it got here? Notice that the door is hanging slightly ajar. Your eyes are drawn to the interior of the main porcelain cabinet, and you are shocked by what you see. Jars and jars of internal organs, some human, some you are not sure of. Your stomach turns at the sight of all this neatly stacked organ jars. The methodical alignments and the precision of the stacking makes you wonder about the evil obsessive-compulsive genius behind this? That's a long sentence, and it should end with a question mark. Are we going to fail this too? Of course we are. Growing doubts and fears eat away at your fragile sanity. Rows of neatly stacked transparent jars and specimen dishes containing organs and tissue samples fill the inside of the porcelain cabinet, each labeled in a neat mechanical handwritten script. It's a long sentence. You glance over the tables, noting some of the stranger ones. Krogan, Asari, Drell, Turian. On the bottom shelf is a rack holding dozens of vials, also each neatly labeled. Zugul venom? Trace of the beyond? Gnat's acid? Okay, I'm going back to the main menu really quick, because sometimes there's an encounter in this room, and it used to glitch out, but I think I fixed it. Oh, but there's no encounter in here today. Okay. Okay. So let's go and turn this quest back into the baker and see what he'll give us. You decide to tell the ghostly baker that his oven is now clean and ready for use. Maybe this will put him at peace. You cleaned it, you say? Well, that's great news. I'll make sure you get a little something if there's any donuts left over. Without a word, the ghostly baker vanishes. Two more experience. Okay, I'm going to save the game really quick. One of the issues I have with this game, one of my biggest issues with this game, is that obviously when you're playing Reaper, you can't reload. But this also means that you better well know what leveling up and taking certain skill cards does for you before you take them. Because if you take a skill card that doesn't do what you want, well, there's no going back. Unless you Alt F4, which is why I just saved the game. Alright, so we're taking a new skill card. We want something that can help us raise our Wands attribute. So that's going to, let's take a look. So we have ranged weapon, melee weapon. These are swords these are sword skill cards, so we're not interested in them at this moment. We'll probably take melee weapon specialist later, but not right now. Stealth, athletics, these are really useful, but we already have cups increasing and bonuses with our boxer background, so we're not taking those. Investigator could be useful. It says increases swords and wands, but I don't know if it's like if we can increase swords once and wands once, then swords 2 more times, or if we can increase like swords and wands twice each. So I'm not going to take investigator specialist. Cups and wands sounds interesting, but we already have a way to increase our cups. I'm interested really just in wands. So that brings us to occult linguistics specialist or research specialist. There's also, well, actually, there's psychic talent specialist. When you were young, the adults always treated you differently. It was almost as if they were afraid that you might wish them away. You know what? So very rarely do I ever even use any psychic talents that I think we'll try this time. This will be I think this is one of the first times I'll be taking this. Yeah, let's take this. So, when you were young, the adults... Oh, I already read this. Alright, so let's take it. Alright, so as you can see, the next 2 experience points we earned the next 2 experience points I earn is going into increasing my wands. Probably the next 5 points, because we can probably increase this at least twice. So we'll do that. Then it'll probably be a Bona wands and then a psychic talent. Unless I feel like we need to add another skill card in order to increase our swords. We will see. Now, let's talk about this really quick. So, melee weapons, their special thing, the reason why you use bones for them is to use, obviously, their powers in combat. And generally, weapons are useful. You can use them in most combats. And their melee weapons increase your swords. Ranged weapons have bullets that you have to expend to use their abilities. The ranged weapons have generally are stronger from my experience. Like a shotgun or the Tommy gun are really great, phenomenal weapons, for example. But the melee weapons are nothing to sneeze at. Cups uses courage for its feats in order for you to use them. Spells need arcane energy. Psychic talents, which you don't have any of at the moment, don't need any ammunition to use them. You can use them every single encounter if you wish, and over and over and over again. But there's a secret hidden stat that you gain when you use psychic talents called psychic pushback. And the more of it that you have, the greater risk you have of some horrible things happening to you when I believe you draw penalty cards. So you tend not to want to use them that often. This stat decreases as time goes by. I can't really tell you any more than that, though. Another Class 1 Haunting. We'll get her again. Oh, that's a nice hand. I see 3 face cards. And we almost immediately won. Uh-oh. Woo! Okay, and we did win. Didn't forget about my axe, but we didn't need to use it, so. You got her good. No one's gonna believe how you did it, and you're not sure you are either. I have a hunch this leads to the backyard. But this is also the grand dining room. We might see the other ghost portrait here. Let's head in. It seemed impossible at first, but slowly you recognize the sounds of clinking glasses and the soft murmur of conversation. A long dining table stands in front of you, surrounded on all ends by dusty chairs. As you come nearer, you think you detect some movement around the table, and the hairs on your arms begin to stand on end. It's suddenly very cold. A ghostly face peers out from behind one of the chairs, and in a heartbeat you see the apparitions seated all around the table. The scene twists at the threads of your sanity. You struggle to comprehend the brush with the supernatural. You have rarely seen this many ghosts seated together before. Your mind attempts to find a safe spot in the shock of confronting this otherworldly scene. Before it can find a refuge, the damage is done. You're confronted with a very unusual scene. You stand before a dinner party of ghosts who, for the most part, seem completely oblivious to your presence. Occasionally, you see a ghost looking around as if trying to find a servant. However, most seem fully preoccupied with ghostly gossip and dinner chatter. You decide to use your powers as a medium and to tap your ectoplasmic knife against the glass and grab their attention. Maybe a direct approach will let you start a conversation so that you can gather some information. Of course, there are some risks involved with this approach. Rows of ghostly heads turn towards you and gaze expectantly. You offer a pithy toast and they seem pleased. Before you know it, you are gabbing away. The general consensus is that the lack of a proper dessert is spoiling the festivities. Hey! Experience point! Awesome. You hear raucous cries for dessert, and many of the ghostly guests are looking expectantly towards us. Would you be so good as to find the butler and order our dessert? Okay. Well, I'm putting that right there. Story advanced. Token drawn. The Elder's Sanctuary. The Elder will most likely be in a crypt of some sort deep below the Corvus Manor. He will be guarded by traps and protectors. All psychic challenges have at least one instant insanity result generated. When the challenge is failed, while this story icon is active. Holy crap! So we do not want to take any psychic... So we're no longer going to talk to ghosts. Until we draw the next story card. Because any psychic... I think that's a psychic challenge? It might not be. That might be just a persuasion roll. But instant insanity is instant death. So we really don't want to fail psychic challenges at the moment. When story tokens are drawn, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, the bonuses or penalties associated with them are randomly chosen. So, Disastrous Flight, for example, if we were to play the Elder a second time, the bonus might not be this, but that bonus. And the other Sanctuary might not be that penalty. It's also why I go and check on what the story token does. Whenever you draw a story token, all prior story token effects are negated. Only this one is the only currently active. I think it's the only currently active icon. I think that's the way it works. I don't think this is always active. I think it would be actually kind of cool if they always were active once you drew one. -2 target level, another clue. You notice that all the mirrors that you have encountered have been broken. Backyard. Well, I don't like the traps out here. I don't. There's a grenade pin trap. There's a shotgun tripwire trap, and they are nasty traps. I don't want to go back there yet. We'll come back here. And I think when we clear this room, we'll call the session, because we've almost been playing for an hour. Oh, one of these might be the smoking guy, and the other might be the Rashaka. Oh, book on a stand. You notice a large tome set on an ornate reading pedestal. It's apparent that the book is bound in human skin. You have seen such things in odd special collections. You feel a presence nearby. Yes, you are being watched. But the strongest emanation is from the tome itself. You could swear that it's alive. Is it breathing? No, that must be your imagination. We don't have a good chance to do this at the moment, so I'm going to pass on this. I believe interacting with the book successfully gives you a guaranteed free spell of some sort. With other successes being, like, the more other cards will have a chance to give you arcane power, or maybe other spells. A ghost suddenly materializes in front of you. It's dressed as if it stepped out of a safari on the Serengeti. It lowers its large caliber big game rifle at you and seems to be considering you closely. You don't know which is scarier, the ghost or the ethereal gun. Well, it didn't matter today. Neither were that scary for us. Your mind is strong. You stand up straight and play the alpha male. That's something this ghost would understand. Good for you, Samwise. That's how I envisioned. That's what I envisioned you would do. The ghostly big game hunter squints at you like he is sizing you up for his trophy wall. There is a taint to him. You suspect he once brushed elbows with the witch doctor. You both stand there in a sort of ghostly standoff, waiting for the other to make the first move. Yes, you see this? Encounter type psychic. So if we were to duel him, there's a chance for a instant insanity to show up. But this doesn't say psychic challenge, so we can probably talk to him. You decide to enter a trance and use your skill as a medium to find out what this ghost wants. His taint is suspicious. You have no trouble establishing a link. He's quite eager to speak with us. Cheers, mate. I'm Colonel Van Pelt, and you are my prey. Unless, of course, you can prove yourself useful. It seems one of my trophies has left the roost. I want you to track it down and return it to its rightful place. Come back here and let me know how you fared, or I will track you down. No, just kidding, laddie. I'll make it worth your while. We gained another point of experience, and that means we finally earned another point in wands. That will be extremely helpful, especially with the ongoing psychic nightmare story token drawn. Alright, everyone, so let's stop here. Thank you guys for watching. When we come back, we will be exploring more of the first floor. We also didn't find a staircase here, did we? Oh, it might be here. It probably is there. That's a psychic challenge, too, to defeat the poltergeist, so we're not doing that for some time. Alright, everyone, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.